I first met Ken Leach in 1989 at a convention celebrating British film. Ken, who was then a student, stood up in front of a packed auditorium and accused the panel of veteran British directors of inhabiting an artistic ghetto and of making films that are both stagnant and boring. He said that in order to survive, British film needed to adopt the American style of commercial filmmaking. He was then unceremoniously thrown to the fire exit by security guards. However, I was impressed enough by this audacious young man to send my personal assistant out on the street after him. The rest, they say, is history. The following film is a tribute to a man who, in his short yet productive career, has achieved both critical and commercial success.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Talking to me? Okay. Okay.
So, I take it then that the Conservative Party can't count on your vote, Mr. Pickles?
Essentially, I feel that what the film cognoscenti find interesting in Leach's films is the clear development from a structuralist form in his first film to a post-structuralist approach in his second. Filthy Larry, for example, quite clearly follows the conventions of the structuralist approach. The film begins with an equilibrium, a disruption then occurs which is resolved, and the equilibrium is re-established. The disruption to the equilibrium and disequilibrium is always figured literally by physical violence. And graphic in its visual impact, the tension between the equilibrium and the disequilibrium is represented by a struggle over the meaning of the law, its effectiveness and ineffectiveness. And I've always felt that Larry, the iconoclastic protagonist, is emasculated by liberal authority. He is an embodiment of our times and ultimately a mirror of society.
I know what's on your mind, pal. You reckon of my gun being empty? Well, to be honest, I ain't too sure. Being as I'm a gambling man, I'm willing to bet that this gun will splatter your brains all over this here wall. So what do you think? Do you fancy your chances? Huh, pal?
Now, of course, I think one of Leach's most interesting works is Traffic Light, a film he conceived whilst at art college. The film challenges the narrative conventions of the classic realist text. Now, as we know, such conventions serve to dictate the expectations of the spatial temporal continuum, and of course its inherent verisimilitude. Traffic Light, a 6-hour epic production, runs counter to such expectations, and of course is not so much a film, but more an experience. Now, of course, Bus Driver is a totem of the post-structuralist text. The disequilibrium is evidence from the first frame. Although the film goes through the motions, it is never quite resolved. The sequence, for example, in which Aris Pickle drives through the streets of his hometown is an excellent utilisation of the overtonal montage and a perfect example of a monoglot text. Leach manipulates the audience and removes them from the usual position of dominant specularity. The feverish composition uses the eyes as a focal point, and the dominant discourse becomes Pickle's personal perception of hell. One, of course, is subsequent prophecies of a real Reno realised. It acts as a cathartic experience for the audience.
July 7th. I drive the 27 bus. I go everywhere. Tunstall, Burslem, Cobridge, Hanley. I don't care. God, I hate this town. I hate this town at the best of times, but in summer, it's unbearable. Sweat makes the shirt stick to your back, and the heat drives all the filth out of their holes. But it's the smell that's the worst. Stench of fumes from XR3Is and souped-up Cortinas. The billowing smog spewed from the bellies of pot banks, and the rotting, putrid carcasses of half-eaten oatcakes and meat and potato pies. One day a real rain will come and wash away all the scum. All the students, jugheads, slappers, tarts, claybrains, scrubbers. All the scum-sucking, scummy suckers. But it's the pensioners who get to me the most. The old gits on the way to bingo, talking loud voices about their corns and bunions. I can feel their eyes in my back. I can smell the cold cream they rub into their liver-spotted, vein-bloated hands. I know they're talking about me. I despise them and their tight perms and blue rinses, their flat caps and racing pigeons, their surgical support stockings, varicose veins, bus passes, and budgies. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark times that made me blind.
Well, there are many reasons, I believe, why Leach could be described as an auteur. However, one of the most important factors is his use of the classic realist text as a form of scopophilia. That is to say, a voyeuristic illusion where the repressed desire of the spectator is manifest by the performer. Now, of course, this relates directly to Lacanian psychology, where the character on screen is seen by the spectator as an extension of themselves, and therefore serves directly to gratify the ego libido.
Leach aficionados will be pleased to know that he is currently putting the finishing touches to his latest film, Reservoir Bog, the story of a plumbing job that goes drastically wrong. The film will hit the cinemas sometime in the autumn.